first in a series of 20 videos that we've produced with friends of the firm, Steve Backley and Roger Backley. Sports nuts like me will associate Steve and Roger with all their athletics triumphs, of course. But since retirement, they've worked in the business world, helping leaders develop the skills required to maximise their own potential. And they've kindly agreed to contribute a series of videos based on the BackleyBlack mindsetting program to help our clients deal with 20 different challenges that we all face, especially at this current time. Appropriately, the first is about committing to success. So I'm going to start by asking Roger, was there a moment in your career that you look back on as the point that you completely committed to being as good as you could be?
Oh, thanks, Malcolm. Good question to start. Yeah, I mean, I came to the sport quite late. I didn't really start doing it properly till I was 18. So that, that's a degree of commitment. But when did I really commit? When did it suddenly become everything and I was in 100%? I think that was the day I broke my foot. I broke my foot sort of 2-3 years into my career, and it just absolutely stopped everything. And I was out of the sport for nearly 2 years. And it's like anyone, when you're really hit by adversity, you ask yourself the right questions, you do a bit of thinking. And it was no longer just something I was good at. It was something I had to be totally committed to if I was to come back, get through the injury, come back, and hopefully come back better. So I would say that would be the moment it really happened. Then you fluctuate, good years, bad years, and commitment can waver a little bit. So I think towards the end of my career, just before the '96 Olympics, I was incredibly committed on a whole different level. But I think the starting point would be when it was taken away from me when I broke my foot.
It's an interesting question, Mal, because on the face of it, Roger and I are sort of perceived as quite similar. The reality is we have very different backstories. The truth is I was always committed. Roger took to the sport quite late. I grew up and I wanted to be an athlete more than anything else in my world. In fact, I wanted to be a runner, first of all. That didn't quite work out, but I was always pretty committed. But I think the real crux of the question, if I understand you correctly, is when you really start to believe it. Being a dream is one thing, but truly committing is another thing. And I think that's actually a bit of a gradual process. But it is all important when it comes to dreaming about being the best in the world, an audacious dream. And that gradually becomes a reality through you looking around and seeing that you have the characteristics that you're slowly ticking off. But in terms of committing to it and wanting to it, that goes back to when I was a kid watching the Olympics on the TV.
Brilliant. And is there, obviously our clients have had a really tough time recently. Is there anything that you would suggest to them that will help them, dig deep in recovering from what they've been through?
Well, we are those clients, Malcolm. I mean, it's been a really tough time for me and Steve. A big part of our business is public speaking, corporate speaking. Events have stopped, so there's no income there. Same with our property brand. We can't get in front of people physically. So actually what we've had to do is what a lot of people have had to do is to be nimble, to be agile, to adapt, to change the way we do the things we do. And obviously in our businesses, that means moving to an online presence like we are today, which we've done. But I think the key words there, if there's any advice we can give, but I mean, the key words I think is to be agile and nimble. We're small enough to do that. We can do that. We're a small business. We can make decisions quickly and we can make changes quickly. I think for bigger businesses, it can be a real challenge.
And I think it's why we created the mindsetting program, is to help people with the challenges they face from a mindset perspective. And a lot of that is kind of accepting what we can do and parking what we can't. Quite often I think as an athlete looking back to previous life, it's so easy to think about, I wish I had this, a situation. To accept reality and focus on what is possible is the crux of it. And that sounds very simplistic, but again, that's why we've designed the program to help people through that process of that mindset.
Brilliant. That's really good advice. Thanks for your input there. Next week, we're going to talk about creating empowering beliefs. So we'll see you then.